Welcome to Finance Series Podcast with Oyekemi Ajayi. It is a great pleasure to connect with you. I have a special guest in the house, and his name is Ajibola Jinodu. He is the founder of My CFO NG, and he focuses on small and mid-sized businesses, providing very insightful content on how to operate a finance unit, finance processes, how to operate as a CFO, what you need to do on financial planning and analysis, and various information that stakeholders require in a business. He's going to be touching on what is required to build a strong finance team, not just a strong finance team, but a high-performing team. And I'm sure this is not what you want to miss. Follow us as we go into this podcast where we are going to be breaking down all that is required to build a strong finance team, all that is required as a CFO to manage your stakeholders, your regulators, your investors, your employees, and a couple of other stakeholders that you have in the business. Thank you. Welcome to Finance Series Podcast. It is a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much, Oyekemi. I've actually seen a few episodes, so I'm actually humbled that you actually invited me to speak.
Wow, thank you so much for coming. All right, so let's get down into this. This is very, very important because in my interaction with a lot of finance professionals, even as a consultant, where I, manage transactions and all that, one way or the other really has with finance units, right, of the client or the target. And these are things that we have seen. In a number of ways, information is not presented in the right manner, right? And at the end of the day, stakeholders are not able to really use this information to make quality decisions. Sometimes it might be that the system in place, maybe the ERP in place, is not as sophisticated as expected, and it might not give you all the right information. Well, maybe not right information. It might not give you all the information that you require.
Sure.
So based on your experience as a CFO, I would like you to touch on how a CFO can manage information, or more like present information in the right manner that would help stakeholders, right, be able to use those information to make the right decisions.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So the way I think about things, and I actually develop them over time, is we think in terms of principles and frameworks. So once you understand the principles, like how it works or how it's supposed to work, then you then develop frameworks to manage all of that. So part of the principles that I always talk about is that people should first understand that all business decisions are finance decisions.
Interesting.
So and breaking it down, it means that no matter what the business is doing, there's a financial impact to it.
There's naira and kobo.
There's naira to kobo to it.
That's true.
And it might not seem that way at the beginning or on the surface, but that's essentially what it boils down to. And then the second principle here is that 90 to 95% of financial activities don't happen in the finance department. So those decisions that people are taking, the founders and all of that, or the executive management, the board, those decisions that they are taking, they actually have an impact on naira and kobo. And it doesn't just even stop there. That's even at the top. So even the decision your operations manager takes has an impact. Even down to, let's say, somebody that is manning the phone, like your customer service person. If the person is rude, you can lose customers. So the point of all of this, to go back to your question, is one of the first principles any CFO must understand is that all of these things that we call financial information, financial analysis, all of those finance stuff is driven by non-finance people.
Right.
So in managing stakeholders, you have to think the way they think and talk the way they talk. But accounting in particular, not just finance, accounting in particular has the set of principles, conventions, standards, and all of those things that we have that teaches people technical things. So the biggest problem there is that we have these trained finance professionals who understand all of these concepts and stuff, but they cannot translate it into the language of the business. In fact, they say accounting is the language of the business. And if you really think about it, the whole point of IFRS and GAAP and all of those things is actually to make financial information simpler for the users of
the financial information.
And the users are not finance people. So if I always laugh that, I always say things like, how many accountants really know IFRS end to end? Not to now talk of the non-finance person.
That's true.
So the long and short of this is the CFO, or I like to say the finance business partner, even if you don't have that role. If you're in finance, your value is taking all of those technical, complex things and translating them into the language that the business understands. So once you can do that, whatever information you're bringing out is actually very useful to the person that wants to use it.
Can I take you up there?
Yes.
Because this information that we're speaking about can be complex in some instances.
It can be, yes.
So how would they be able to take that complex message, make it clear and compelling for the stakeholders?
Yeah, so the how still comes down to the principle. If you know who you're talking to,
right,
then you know what to say to them. So information in itself is just information. Communicating that information is a different thing entirely. So this is the way I actually always even analyze it, or kind of like use an analogy to say it. So it's like being able to speak two languages, French and English. So let's assume the business speaks English, but now this information is in French. Being a strong finance professional up to a CFO level, if you're getting to CFO level, then you must have really, so it's like taking, I speak French. Okay, let me translate this French into English. So the biggest gap that people seem to have is they just take that French and dump it on the English speakers, and then now wonder why they don't see the value of what's done in French. So that's actually the biggest thing to do. So it's first assuming the role of what is important to my stakeholders, and then putting yourself in the shoes of that stakeholder. So that's why the CFO is now this very multifaceted, multidimensional person. I know. So you can't just present a three financial statement, or take income statement and dump it in front of your operations manager. Has no clue and don't care. Or just even take the information like that and just say, I've prepared the financial statements and put it on the MD CEO's table. Doesn't. So except the person is trained in accounting and finance, and even if they are, it has no value to them because they don't understand what we understand so well in that language. So it starts from there, actually, in managing whoever you're talking to. So the stakeholders are different. The way you talk to a regulator is different from the way you talk to a supplier. It's different from how you talk to a customer, talk to your staff, talk to your board. Like that. But the thing is, as long as money is involved, some of them are touched. So as a CFO, you just really have to understand that who is my stakeholder and what is important to them. Then how do I develop the system that ensures that what is coming out is able to cater to those stakeholders.
I like what you said towards the end. So we know that there are different stakeholders, to suppliers, to the tax authorities, or even the government and all that. So when we are communicating to each of them, how should we think about it? How should we present the information? Right. So if I'm presenting to a regulator, I'm communicating to a regulator. What are the things I need to put in there? Or how should I structure the information? Will it be totally different from what I'll send to my employees, what I'll send to suppliers? So maybe if you could just touch on that so that an upcoming CFO understands that the language, yes, you said is different, but what are key things? Is it storytelling approach they would use, or what are the things they need to touch on?
Yeah, so I think I will disappoint you a bit, but the answer is pretty much the same. But it's about being dynamic. Let me put it that way. It's about being dynamic for and adapting to the situation. So, but one thing that helps very well is engagement. That when I'm in engagement, you literally have to go with the stakeholder. Right. And that happens long before the reports come out. Or so once you engage with them, you kind of like see, okay, this is what is important to them. So bringing it back to principles and frameworks, one of the first things that people need to understand is that the accounting information does not change, or the capturing of the data, all that doesn't change. Your
Profit is still profit.
Profit is still
Revenue is
profit.
revenue, yeah.
Debit and credit are still debit and
yeah.
credit. Asset are asset. Those things don't change. The idea is that those things make no meaning in themselves to
non-professionals,
non-finance professionals. So now the gap there that needs to be closed is how is that information interpreted to each stakeholder.
Stakeholders, yeah.
So that is where the CFO role. So the CFO's power is not in making those statements or whatever. So as things have evolved, those things have become normal. So if you can't do those things, you should not even
You're not even a CFO.
don't even be going into that role. So those things should now be basic.
Yeah.
Capture when you capture, balance, reconcile, those things and all. So, but the information here is that everything you are doing there, if you take it back to the principle, the people that are taking financial decisions or taking business decisions, or the people that are even impacting, they are not waiting for you to prepare a financial statement before they act or before they do what they do. The more you are doing that, the more they are doing their things that continue to affect what they are doing. So you always want to kind of like be proactive to say, if you do this, this is the impact on profit. Not that, oh, you did this and that, see the profit or we made or see the loss that we made. Like it's too late and it just feels a bit antagonistic. So the point here is that CFO person, that CFO type person, their main job is to take whatever that information means, the financial information, and then kind of like absorb it, distill it in different ways to different stakeholders. So that role or that personality is just one that has to be adaptable, dynamic, open-minded. You have to be very open-minded in that role. You can't say IFRS said this or this one said this. It might be true, but it's not helpful. It's not helpful to that. So what the taxman is concerned about over time in the role, they want to be sure that you have clear documentation, for instance, for everything you are putting in your expenses so that they don't disallow it and things like that. So once you engage with different stakeholders, which you have no choice but to, once you engage in advance, you start to see what's important to them.
Yeah.
So the more you have the that information, the more you can even use it to tweak your underlying systems to ensure that it gives you that information even before you are ever in a position where you have to like be changing all the time on the spot.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I would like us to touch on building a high performance finance team.
Sure.
Because for the CFO to be able to carry out his work, he needs a strong team.
Sure.
Right. He needs a good backup. And we've seen instances where a CFO is not necessarily an accountant.
Yes.
It can be from other areas. It might not even have finance background.
Sure.
I've seen instances like that.
Yeah, that's
but they're
happening.
able to still deliver.
Yes.
One, because they have a good understanding of the business, how it works. They have a good team and all that.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be touching on how to build that team. So my question now will be, how can a finance leader coach the team to be able to think beyond the numbers?
So the answer to that one is simple. Before I get to that, I mean, so some of the things you said in introducing that question is a bit scary for trained accountants because for most people, they go into accounts and finance and they want to get to the top. Yeah. And then you find out that the person that's the CFO does not even have any accounting background, any stuff like that, and they are the CFO. But then sometimes it's merited, sometimes it's politics. But you touched on something very important, saying that because you understand the business. So that's a part of why that shift of, I know technical accounting stuff is not enough. You have to understand the business because every business decision is a finance decision. So if you are tweaking the business decision part, you'll be also affecting the finance part. So that's in relation to your question, that was very key that the CFO himself or herself has to be business minded.
Yeah.
So in coaching, there's only one way coaching, that's why the answer is simple. There's only one way coaching works in that way, is leading by example. It's leading by example. So if the CFO in their role is embodying the fact that I'm not just a technically good person,
Right.
I actually understand the business, how it makes money, what we can do to stop losing money, how we can improve making money, then the person embodies it. So once it's embodied, it's easier to then also try and replicate that in your team.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the first one, because the biggest thing that I think is missing from many finance professionals is business acumen. So a lot of people can record what happened, but you have to. I always even say to have many principles, and because it's just, I always say that if you meet an accountant and you ask them when does your work start, and they say, oh, when I record the entries, you're too late. Because before the entries are recorded, people have taken decisions, actions have happened. So finance professionals need to go back to the roots. Before you recognize revenue in certain places, somebody must have placed an order. So walk back to the order. So you understand the business, you understand how everything impacts everything. So once the CFO embodies that, it is a lot easier to replicate that with the team. Otherwise, they can't even tell the team what they don't know themselves.
Right. So what do you think are new competencies that a finance professional should have? These days, a lot of people have ICANN, right? Or they're becoming chartered.
Yes.
And the way I see it is you need to keep evolving.
Sure.
So what are those new skills that a young finance professional should begin to think about?
So I don't think there are any new skills.
Or maybe around competencies.
No, I get you. No, I get what you're saying. I just want to twist it a bit. So I want to twist it in a way to say that the skills have always been there.
All right.
The skills have always been there. Application has been the problem.
What is lacking?
Application is lacking. At the end of the day, the goal should be what I said earlier in terms of being able to take that information and make it useful to stakeholders, the users of the financial information, even though they are not trained professionals. So that goal should always be there. So the thing is, what do you want to be able to do? What do you want to be able to do? Or how do you want to be able to do that to do it faster, to do it better, to do it cleaner? So presentation skills is very important. Communication skills, very important.
You know, they say some accountants don't know how to speak English.
Yes, it's and sometimes even some accountants, it just feels they are okay being in the back office. You guys do what you want to do. I will just record the stuff and present the stuff, and they don't want to talk to anybody. And
but things have changed now.
Yeah,
I think a lot of accountants are learning to come out more.
Yes, because of part of what I do, part of people talking about it, and also that it's not just enough being in the back end. But again, sometimes you have to even weigh. So a lot of things outside, and why I do what I do for SM is a lot of things a lot of content, a lot of discussions just assumes you're working in a place that everybody's head is correct, and the structure is in there. So, like, I do a lot of finance business partnering content, and I actually write for the people that they have to even first fight the MD on why internet banking is necessary in 2026. As opposed to where, yes, you go into a place and there's a structure there, and there are approvals and all of those things. So, so it's not as obvious. I want to say it's not as obvious that it's changing and people have adapted. Some people are still like not even understanding that this is what the role entails.
Could it be fear? Maybe fear of the unknown, or you don't want people to act fraudulently in your business and all that?
fraudulent for
I
the
mean, for
owners.
the owners who have not started using internet banking at this age.
I don't know. I mean, so people have different motivations.
Oh, that's true.
People have different motivations. So what I've actually seen in practice is as long as somebody is making money, everything around it doesn't. So you can't have a discussion as to IFRS 18 coming out with some people. It's has no impact on the fact that can I buy from my supplier? Can I sell to my customer? Every other thing, as long as there won't be a fine or something, it makes no difference.
Business as usual.
It's just business as usual. So for some people, if they are doing okay without internet banking, then there's no point bringing it. So I'm just trying to say that at the end of the day, the finance professionals just need to evolve.
Yeah.
They need to evolve in a way that they also think like these business people, and it helps in how the business people also see
The finance
the finance professionals.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. You touched on something which I'll just like you to elaborate further.
Yeah.
You say you see them as finance partners. I think at the beginning when I spoke about CFO, you were like, oh, you call
Finance
them
business partners.
partners.
Yes,
Okay, thank
yes,
you for
yes.
that. So maybe you could just touch on that, because if I call you my business partner,
Yes.
so it's more than debit and credit.
It's way
we
more than
have to
it.
work together
Exactly.
as a partner
Exactly.
in doing this business. So maybe
Exactly.
can you just touch on that?
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's the core of everything. Accounting is the language of business to start with, and at the end of the day, when you even first realize that accounting is not finance. So because I started accounting very early, and by the time I realized that accounting wasn't finance, finance wasn't accounting, so I know I'm an accountant, but I don't know finance. So long story short, finance, if I want to define it, finance is the management of money. So the point is you want to make more money than you spend. And the ultimate goal is you want to make way more money than you spend. But ultimately, you want to make more money than you spend. Yeah. So in doing finance, you don't actually have to be an accountant. So the market woman in Ladipo is doing finance. The spare parts guy is doing finance. Everybody that's running a business, they don't need to first carry an accountant to sit down to even run the financial part of, am I making more money than spending? No. But and everybody, even individually, we have that rough estimates running our households, and also that's finance. So you don't actually have to be a technical accounting person to actually do finance. But with everything we know, one of the things, especially in corporate world, there is nobody that has access to all of the information as much as the accounting team. So the idea again is to take all that information to make better business decisions so you can achieve those goals of making a lot more money. So we're now skilled and trained in those things. So being a finance business partner is now saying, okay, with everything I know, with everything I've been trained in, and I can actually use it to help this business, or if you are referring to someone, to help your business make more money or lose less money, or both.
And even grow. And
yes. So you can make more money or lose less money, or both. So you can. So sometimes a finance person might not necessarily be in the front lines, like helping the person sell, but they do whatever it is, like structure a business, structure deals to ensure that you are not spending as much. As simple as just reviewing the expense heads and seeing where things are. Because obviously what happens in expense is you want to avoid waste, inefficiencies and excesses. So you can take that information and see, oh, this is where waste is, this is where inefficiency, and help the business tweak that and say, okay, well, I might not be able to help you sell more, but I can help you save more. And then sometimes you don't even have to sell. You can just look at sales information, customer information, customer acquisition costs, all of those things, and put your stuff to see like, oh, if we sell this product, because I've analyzed it, this is one that has the highest margin, this one that has the lowest margin. So this one that has the lowest margin, we are selling way more volumes of it. Or how about we do some resources that switches it to this high margin one so that we don't spend a lot in selling something that doesn't earn as much. Or you can do things like loss leading strategies where you want to push the low margin one forward or the loss one forward to attract people to that. So yeah, see the big one I'm selling. So all those things are like real business decisions that people have to take. But now when you are now a finance person that has that information, has the training and things like that, you're able to like actually make it a lot more structured so that the business can take advantage of it. So more finance professionals need to get into that space.
Yeah, I like that. Can you just highlight one or two skills that these professionals must have?
No, so they must have, I won't say commercial skills, but I like to call it business acumen. Just understand what's happening from a business perspective, not just from a debit credit, and understand what's happening so that when the numbers come out, you're able to interpret them in a way to say, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is what we should change. And also you must have that. And then I would say tech skills. Because of the era and all of that. And tech is mainly for, I would say, productivity more than anything. So things that would take you hours to do, you want to do them in minutes so that you now have the time to think
focus,
on the business and strategic part. So I know how people do bank reconciliation sometimes. So doing that bank reconciliation in itself is not a high value skill, but it has to be done. So, and like I said, I talk to SMEs. So in SMEs, in big corporations, they can hire God knows how many people to do so. But in small ones, sometimes there's somebody that is the sole accountant and they have to do the posting, and then they're still expected to be finance business partners, stuff like that. But then if you understand how technology works, you can do some basic setup, learn whatever, and then the bank reconciliation that would have taken you 3, 4, 5 hours can be done in 3, 4, 5 minutes. Now you have time to focus on being that finance business partner. So yeah, commercial skills, tech skills, non-negotiable.
And business acumen.
I would just say commercial skills / business acumen. They are in the same. So I say that a lot because a lot of people talk about the numbers in a very technical way, and the people they are talking to do not understand at all, and especially if you are talking up. So there are some things you send to your CEO. The CEO will not want to tell you that I don't know this thing. They don't want to look like, but they can't dissect it. So they really appreciate people that said, this is what the numbers are. This is what it means. This is what we should do. This is what's driving it. This is what we should do. Blah blah blah. So all those things are actually very important. Yes.
Well, I like that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I hope this has been very insightful. In fact, for me, I like the touch on business acumen because I feel if you have that skill, you have power.
Exactly.
When the CEO wants to make a decision, he's able to carry you from the get-go because you understand the business, you understand how that decision would impact the bottom line. So that's very, very good. One word from you for our young professionals before we go.
So I would just say the world is evolving, so it's just to stay adaptable and open-minded. So that's worked for me a lot. There are a lot of things. I was joking with her before we started. There are a lot of things that 6 years into my CFO journey, I just realized, oh, okay, that wouldn't work anymore. So yeah, the journey is long. I say never ending until whenever it ends, but just be open-minded, be dynamic, be adaptable, and can get through anything.
Be open-minded, be dynamic, be adaptable. Thank you once again for your time, and do have a great one.